Hello and welcome. You're watching NewsX and I'm Megha Sharma. An unfortunate incident has taken place in Maharashtra. There are 8 people who have died and 7 others who are injured following a blast in an ordnance factory in Bhandara. This is close to Nagpur, and the Bhandara district is in Vidarbha region of Maharashtra. The factory is located in Satpura mountain ranges. Rescue teams have been deployed for survivors and operations have been conducted to help those who are still stuck inside the ordnance factory. There are at least a dozen people that have been rescued so far from the accident site. The district administration is involved in the rescue operations in coordination with the defense forces. Teams have also been kept ready for medical assistance. Now, there are some breaking updates coming in this story. We're getting to know that the death toll unfortunately has risen to 8. There are 7 other people who have been injured. The Bhandara police control room has said that the rescue operation is still going on, and we suspect that there are more people inside this ordnance factory. Joining me on the telecast is Daryl Miranda. Daryl, give me more details. 8 people have died in this unfortunate incident. We are getting to know there are many more who are at this point of time under the debris. How are the rescue operations coming along?
Absolutely, Megha. A tragic incident took place in Maharashtra's Bhandara district where in a blast in the ordnance factory in Bhandara, more than 12 people are said to be trapped under this factory, and 8 innocent lives have lost their lives in this tragic incident. Union Minister Nitin Gadkari has also said that a big blast has occurred in the ordnance factory in Bhandara. In the incident, 8 people have died and 7 people are injured. He also paid respects to those who lost their lives in the blast in the ordnance factory in Bhandara by observing a 1-minute silence, and the local authorities, the SDRF and the NDRF teams are at the spot. The rescue operations are underway and all the assistance is being provided for the people. It is said that around more than 10 people are being trapped inside the factory and 5 people have been safely rescued. But in this whole tragic incident, 8 innocent people have lost their lives.
Okay, Daryl, stay on with me. I also have with me Naveen Kumar Bhatnagar. He is the former DIG of the director of the NDRF. Mr. Naveen, thank you very much for joining me. Unfortunate incident that has taken place. We are getting to understand that the blast was so its intensity was so high that it could be heard from 5 kilometers where the factory was. We are getting to know that because of the blast, the entire roof of the ordnance factory collapsed. There were at least 14 people who were inside the factory. There are 8 people who have died. There are 7 others that have at this point of time been rescued. Could there be more people buried under the debris right now?
Yeah, so it's a explosive factory from Ministry of Defense. So definitely high explosives are being used here, dumping or in the process and all these things like PETN. So penta-erythrotetranitrate. So it's a very, very highly explosive material. And likewise, other materials are also kept there stored, and it is being well designed as well. The time it is being safety audits are being done here in this factory. But inquiry has been set up, and later on we will able to get that what was the cause and how it affects the factory like that. Or now our rescue party is there. They are after taking due care, they are engaged in this rescue operations. The people who are injured in the debris or still now they are under the debris of the buildings collapse. So our people are searching with the help of sniffer dogs and life locator and our experience base. So we are searching the people. We are sending them to the hospital for the next course of action. Yeah.
Okay, stay on with me, sir. There are reports at this point of time that are pouring in that there were 7 workers who were trapped after the roof collapsed in the explosion in the ordnance factory. This is taking place in Bhandara district. We'll put out those visuals. Those are there was a huge plume of smoke that has emerged after the blast. The district collector and the superintendent of police, both of them are on the spot. All kinds of help is right now being provided. Daryl back on the telecast with me. Daryl, the explosion was so big that it could be heard 5 kilometers away from the ordnance factory by the people who were residing in the region, in the district. Now, there is the NDRF, there is the SDRF who's on the spot. There has been statement that has been issued by the district collector. He himself is on the ground. The Union Defence Minister Rajnath Singh has also made a statement. Now, what do you think, an estimate how big this explosion was, keeping in mind there was defence equipment that is manufactured in the ordnance factory?
Absolutely, Megha. The intensity of the explosion was so high that it could be heard at 5 kilometers away from the whole incident where it took place. And now the collectors and all the state, the SDRF, the NDRF team, the superintendent, all the teams are at the spot. And it is said, as the reports indicate, that in this explosion at the ordnance factory in Bhandara district, the roof collapsed, trapping 13 to 14 workers, out of which 5 have been safely rescued. All medical teams are also over there, present at the spot. All assistance is being provided and the rescue operations are underway. Defense Minister Rajnath also has said that he is deeply saddened to know about the blast at the ordnance factory at Bhandara, Maharashtra. The rescue teams are deployed at the site. All efforts are being made to provide assistance to those who are affected, and at the moment the district collector, the superintendent, the fire brigade team, the SDRF, the NDRF, all the authorities, all the local authorities are also present, and the rescue operations are underway, Megha.
Right, okay, stay on with me. Dr. PSV Rao joining me on the telecast. Dr. Rao, if you take a look at the defense equipment that is manufactured inside the ordnance factory, and that may have caused the explosion because of mishandling of certain raw materials. I mean, if I take a look at the Bhandara ordnance factory, where it says that the factory is a pioneer in explosive and chemical group of factories. It has multi-dimensional product matrix ranging from acids to high explosives and various propellants with highest quality standards. Now, when the laborers, workers are working inside the ordnance factory, if they are handling acids, high explosives with various propellants, what is the risk that they are taking when working inside the factory and manufacturing these defense equipment? And are there any protocols that are followed that will obviously be questioned at this point of time that led to this unfortunate blast?
Good evening, Megha, and to all your viewers. My condolences go out to the people who have been killed and injured. I hope they recover early. And as a doctor, all I can say is we always believe prevention is better than cure. And as you mentioned, what are the precautions? I mean, it is true of fireworks manufacturers, and far more important in ordnance factory. And this is not the first ordnance factory where there has been a fire or an explosion in India itself. So when you are working with these kind of very easily combustible and explosive items, you have to be extremely careful in transporting them, handling them, and all the protocols include various measures in very carefully handling these. And some of these can explode if they are exposed to a certain other chemical or a certain other or to sometimes even to open air. So these are all precautions that have to be taken to prevent an explosion or a fire.
Okay.
Now, in addition to the explosion, what would have happened is a whole lot of splinters would have also injured the workers, in addition to getting crushed when the roof falls on them, and the burn injuries. So, and just the force of the explosion can cause people to be crushed and killed. So these are all the problems
these are all the possibilities that at this point of time are going to be very closely, minutely speculated, monitored, probed into this massive blast that has led to the death of at least 8 people. There could be more deaths that could be reported, because we're getting to know that there are many other workers who are buried under the debris. and there are rescue operations that continue since 10 a.m. when the blast took place. We are also getting to know that there has been debris that has been found at the site of the blast at the ordnance factory today. There are several workers that are feared trapped under the special equipments are being used to evacuate the workers who are trapped. In fact, there is an eyewitness who has found the debris from the blast, and the eyewitness has said that he was on his way to work when he found that the debris flying in air and heard a loud explosion. Listen in to that eyewitness account.
काम के लिए निकला था। काम के बाद में ये है जो अपना पेवटा मोड़ बोलते हैं वहाँ पे आया तो ये स्पॉट दिखाया मेरे को। स्पॉट देखते देखते वो ऊपर में जैसे पत्थरे उल्टे ना वैसे उल्टे दिखे मेरे को। तो एक जो यहाँ था पत्थरा बड़ा वाला वो यहाँ गिरा और जैसे ही वो गिरा मैं वहाँ से भाग गया, गाड़ी फेंक के पीछे चला गया और मेरे साथ में 4 लड़की थी पीछे में, उन्होंने भी वो साइकिल छोड़ के भागने लगी और रोने लगी है। देख ही नहीं पाया मैं, जैसे वो आग निकलती है ना और उसके साथ में धुआं निकलता है, ऐसे दिखा मेरे को कि क्या बताने की ऐसी इच्छा नहीं हो रही मेरी। आवाज़ आई तो कान बंद कर दिए मैंने और पीछे पीछे भागा तो पलटा ही नहीं जल्दी।
Daryl is back on the telecast with me. Daryl, an eyewitness account. He said he was headed to work. He heard a loud explosion. There was debris that was flying everywhere. He decided to flee that area, and this is what he's telling. He's saying that after the explosion there was debris that was flying all over the area, and he could have been fatally hurt if he did not flee the area right then and there.
Absolutely, Megha. As we heard the eyewitness who saw this whole incident, it was a massive blast and the intensity was so high that it could be heard 5 kilometers away. As we heard the eyewitness saying that he was heading towards his work when he saw that there was this debris flying in the air, and soon as it fell on the ground, he ran away from the spot because he would have also got hurt in that whole incident, and there were 4 people with him, and he left the spot at that very time. So we can see that it's a very massive blast which took place at the ordnance factory in Jawaharnagar. But now what the officials have said that the rescue operations are underway and each and everything is closely monitored. The Chief Minister has also commented on this, that
right.
he's in contact with the local authorities in Bhandara.
Yeah, Daryl, stay with me. I also have with me on the telecast Brajesh Kumar. He is the former Director General, Military Engineering Services, joining me on the telecast. Sir, the question that arises is, what are the kind of precautions, what are the protocols, guidelines that have to be followed by the workers when they are working in the factory and when they are tackling and working in a very volatile situation where very volatile chemicals are being used? We're talking about high intensity explosives. We are talking about acid that they are dealing with on a daily basis.
Megha, thank you for having me on the show. Firstly, very unfortunate to have this kind of an accident in an ordnance factory which is very, very old. In fact, most of our ordnance factories are located tucked in the Vidarbha region, and they have the systems, they have people, they are working, they all think a stereotype. And taped up for long period of time. After the reorganization of the ordnance factory, these come under the Munition India Company, a defense PSU based at Pune. Now, as I said, these are very old factories with setup and system in place. Now, this particular factory manufactures EMS, EX, RDX, and the explosives required for the projectiles, missile systems, and rocketry. So these are highly sophisticated, applications of the material which it produces. So that is one. The second aspect is, this is not a fire. This is an explosion. Well, the high explosive detonates, and detonation carries destruction. The pieces of fragments which you just saw on your screen indicates, there are huge intensity explosion caused by detonation of the high explosive, which breaks the roof of the structure which is placed and falls outside couple of 100 meters beyond the safety region of the factory per se. So it's huge. Now the second aspect is, where is it happened? Was it a storage shed? Was it a testing shed where the explosive was being tested? Or it's a preparation shed where people are working on it. So we don't know as yet where was it actually. More details need to come in. The other aspect is it gives room for doubt. Very close to 26th January, when security is tight, I only hope there are no other factors, right, which go into engineering these kind of things. We had cases in the past. If viewers can recollect the Suratgarh ammunition depot blast long time back, two happens in J&K, one in Srinagar, and the second one near Jammu and Udhampur area, and the not happened in this area, Vidarbha region as such. So we got to preclude all that. It's a serious matter.
Yeah.
It's not just a question of, you see, accident and losing life is very bad, understandable too. But then it should not be something which is more sinister and severe. So I suppose they would have ordered those little codes of inquiry or board of inquiry and see all angles of it, Intel, international, and what have you, and preclude any external influence in this kind of a thing. We cannot have, being a power at the threshold of it, nuclear power, nuclear submarine, missiles, rockets, space, and what have you. So such things, actually we should have no tolerance for this kind of error.
You're absolutely right, sir. We are getting to know, as I was mentioning, as per the information that has been provided by the ordnance factory in Bhandara, it says the factory is a pioneer in explosive and chemical group of factories. It has multi-dimensional product matrix ranging from acids to high explosives and various propellants with highest quality standards. The quality management system of the factory conforms to ISO 9001 standard, and the testing facilities in its well-equipped laboratories have been accredited by NABL. General Brajesh, I am going to come back to you. Now, when these high explosives are being handled very carefully by the workers, is there training provided to them? How long does this training last? Again, the question, it has been accredited by NABL. Who should the blame be put on? Is it only the mistake of the workers who were working over there and manufacturing this defense equipment? How do we make sure, like you said, there is going to be an inquiry that is going to be brought up, and you said that there has to be zero tolerance shown, because you said this is a Make in India defense initiative. If such blasts continue to happen because of negligence, or because guidelines were not followed, or because of laxity in terms of putting out rules and regulations, the questions are being raised, will be raised on the defense ministry and the armed forces themselves.
You see, the issue is explosives, high explosives in India are only handled by accredited units in the public sector, that to defense public sector. To my knowledge, there are no institutions, there is not a commercial people who handle such kind of high explosive in India. Having said that, the internal system of these organizations itself is very, very good, both in terms of training, induction of people, officers level, supervisor level, function level, workers level, and whatever. They are, of course, they are monopoly. But even then, since they handle such critical equipment, those systems are taped up and they are checked and cross-checked by various people within the DRDO organization, in this case Munition India, as also the Ministry of Defense. And as you said, there is also a Government of India body which does those one or two statutory checks as per periodicity. So I am very sure of that those are not an issue apparently, because people are reasonably well trained, but yes, accident can happen. And they should be avoided. But my more concern is these accidents are not a kind of a sabotage. That's a worry which we have to rule out, and that I'm sure they'll be ruled out pretty fast by a set of inquiry or what have you to rule things out. And obviously we cannot have this kind of a thing getting repeated. I'm sure we have mature people, smart people
sir,
in the organization to probably do that.
Yeah, okay. I'm going to take a look at some other developments that are taking place in this story, where we're getting to know that the NDRF, the SDRF, the district collector, they are all present on the site. Rescue operations are being done at full stead. I'm going to quickly get in once again. Joining me on the telecast, Naveen Kumar Bhatnagar. Now, questions like General Brajesh Kumar was saying, there's a, it's an NABL accredited laboratory where defense related manufacturing of equipment was being done. How is the inquiry going to be held? How long do you think this inquiry is going to take place? Is there a committee that is going to be formed? Who is to be held responsible for this blast?
Definitely. Committee maybe, I think, is required for that, or a spot inquiry. And now, first of all, there will be a spot inquiry, then a intelligent people, a gathering of people, some high level inquiry will be there to find out the facts, what fact actually happened, and how this happened, because it is such a vital area, is a crucial area, and this factory is a renowned factory in India. So all the safety measures were taken in this factory, and time to time audits are there, trainings are there, and after that something happened. It means there is some some lacking will be there. So to find out that lacuna, this inquiry is must. So high level inquiry is there, and after that we can say something about, as our other fellows are saying, that there may be some chance of something sabotage and all this thing, but it will be too early to comment on this subject. But
Right.
anyhow, after this inquiry and the complete our rescue operation is completed, and we will be able to find out the losses and the debris and death and all this thing, we'll submit the report in detail. Then only we can say something about it.
Right. Okay. Okay,
Otherwise,
sir.
yeah.
I'm coming back to Dr. Rao now. What has happened is that the blast has been of such high intensity that the roof itself of the factory has collapsed, and as the roof collapsed, there were people, the workers who were trapped. We're getting to know an estimate of about 14 workers who were trapped. Now, but these are only preliminary reports. We do not know thus far how many of those workers who were working on this fateful day when the roof collapsed, when the explosion happened. What are the chances that there could be more people who could be rescued? As per reports pouring in, 7 people thus far have been rescued.
Megha, as I mentioned earlier, when an explosion of this kind occurs, it is the blast itself can cause suffocation injuries, and blast injuries can straight away kill people. And how many people were? See, they feel that there were 13 to 14 people working there. This is a highly regulated and a high secure factory. So there is no question of anyone and everyone walking in and walking out. So they must be having a very clear idea of how many people were there. Now, as far as the evidence is concerned, if there were security cameras, etc., they would have all been destroyed by the explosion. So a lot of evidence will have been eliminated by the explosion itself. So I would think that if they know exactly how many workers were on that shift, that should be correct. It is not. It can't be that there were extra people coming in and going out. And a second fact is that these factories always insist on these explosives being segregated and separated from each other, so that if one explosion occurs, it doesn't trigger off an explosion in the other. This is also supposed to be in manufacturing of fireworks, that you keep safe distance between different lots of it, because if it is too close, you may suddenly have another explosion, so and another catching fire. And you also mentioned that even various fuels were also being prepared as propellants for rockets and missiles. They are inflammable stuff. So we don't know if one of them caught fire and then the explosives took off. So these all things will have to be checked out by them, and the factory layout is also planned such that there is safety written into the factory plan, written into the way these people handle all these explosives, and these explosives are also used in the mining industry. So it is not only the army which needs explosives, the mining industry also uses explosives. So these are all precautions to be taken. Now, as far as the factory roof is concerned, I presume it was a concrete roof under which people have got crushed. But if it is a asbestos sheet or that kind of roof, which because you have to be also careful that lightning doesn't strike a ordnance factory like this, nor does it get so hot that some of these things become combustible. So these are all issues, and if the roof is of a kind where tin sheets or asbestos sheets can fly, it can behead people even far away. And the concrete itself, if it is a concrete roof, parts of it would have collapsed. Parts of that steel can also melt, the reinforcement give way, and how many people are crushed. I don't think there should be a very great difference in the figures that they are estimating and the actual figures. We just hope that the people there are saved, and from the visuals you are showing, it looks like a massive pit, a very deep
I mean, the fact that the explosion happened and people were able to hear the explosion, they were 5 kilometers away from the explosion site, gives us an idea, an estimate of how strong, of high intensity explosion that happened today. This has happened at 10:30 a.m. approximately 10:30 a.m. is what reports are telling us. I'm out of time. I thank all of you for joining me on the telecast. We'll keep bringing you latest updates as we get information about the number of people who are still stuck under the debris, if there are rescue teams that have been able to pull out more, and hopefully there are going to be less deaths and not more that are going to be reported from this unfortunate accident site. On that note, I slip into a short break. Thanks for watching NewsX.